If you want to get faster around the Belgian Grand Prix circuit, you need to watch this top 1% hot lap. Let's go on board for a lap with Zingy to see how it's done. First of all, you want to bring the car to the right on the exit of the penultimate corner, which will allow you to straighten up the car and get the traction down a lot easier as you start the lap, gaining you time immediately. Open DRS and head to the first corner. Braking hard just before the 100-meter board, around 110 meters, turn into the corner as you pass the 50-meter board, and down to third gear as you meet the apex. But make sure you only position your right tyres on the curb, otherwise you'll bottom out the car. We're already on the throttle now, staying in third gear, aim towards the outside of the circuit, positioning the car far to the left, and you can even ride the grey drain cover if you want to for maximum efficiency, but not riding the sausage curb. Now bring the car far to the right to minimise track distance, prepare yourself for Eau Rouge and Radillon, start turning in early to open up the corner and keep the car as straight as possible through the complex, ensuring you easily maintain full throttle. Cutting the first curve, you should touch the second one, avoiding the grass, and cut the third curve as best as you can, even though it isn't visible until the last moment. Keep it tight to the right once again to minimize track distance, then DRS open before positioning left as you approach Le Combe. Quickly take a moment to appreciate the crowd that has come to watch you invalidate multiple laps for 3 hours straight, and 3 hours should be enough time to hit that subscribe button and like the video. Braking at around 65 meters, or just as the concrete patch on the right appears at the edge of the screen, use the entire curb and then start turning, and make sure the car is fully off the curb as it drops away. Into fourth gear, and you can either use the entire inside curb or only use the red and yellow section of the curb to improve stability. As you get off the curb, you need to be in the center of the circuit, then turn left and cut as much of the curb as possible, even placing the tires on the black surface as long as it's within the white lines. Doing all this whilst holding fourth gear. And then again, we want to position the car in the center of the circuit as we exit the corner, yet pointing towards the outside. And once you're just left of center, start turning in and up to fifth gear, lifting off the throttle the smallest amount for a short moment, cutting the entire curb, back on the power and straighten up the car, running wide on exit within the white lines, and then breathe. Down the hill, brake as soon as the entry curb appears, positioning the car completely over the curb, and as you start to come off the curb, trail brake to avoid locking up the front tyres. Into third gear, keeping a tight and long apex without touching the inside curb, start applying the throttle, then point to the outside, allowing you to straighten up the wheel for the best grip. Bring the car as far right as you can, brake extremely lightly, then back on the throttle as soon as you can, yet smoothly, touching the inside curb, then allow the car to push itself wide on exit. You can let the car rev out in 7th gear or do what we do, momentarily shifting up to 8th gear before going back down to 7th. Either way, using the natural engine braking to slow the car down for turn 10. Turning in just as the building appears on the right and lift off the throttle just briefly, get a tire on the red and yellow curb, back on the power and use all the track on exit, but it's not over yet as once again bring the car back to the inside right up to the curb, almost making it a double apex corner. Heading to turn 12, brake as the entry curb appears, then turn in just before the AstroTurf arrives, and you can either go into 4th gear using as much curb as you dare, even onto the grass to maximize rotation, or do as we do, use 5th gear staying off the curb to improve stability whilst also maintaining a higher minimum apex speed. Again, position the car nice and central, keeping 5th gear and turning into the corner, riding the AstroTurf with the left tyres and lifting off the throttle very slightly for a short while, back on the throttle, power out towards the outside and keep the car straight on the curb to make sure the car is as stable as possible before entering turn 14. Braking at around 70 meters, dipping the tyres onto the entry curve if possible, then down to 4th and either use all of the red and yellow curb but nothing more, or simply do the same as turn 12, stay off the curb for stability whilst carrying a higher minimum apex speed as we do here. And another common theme, use all the track on exit. Keep the car straight as you approach the next corner, keeping it flat and even shifting up to 6th. Now we need to find the path of least resistance if we want to find the most lap time, keeping it tight to the inside as we go right and left. Easily flat through Blanchemont, and then we arrive at the bus stop chicane, braking around 110 meters, keeping the car straight and be aware of the bump in the middle of the circuit as you try not to lock the front and rear tyres. Into 3rd gear and ideally riding the red and yellow curve for rotation, but don't use the sausage curb. Zingy took this a little too far as they were so scared of the sausage curb they missed the corner, but it's still a tidy lap nonetheless. Back on the throttle momentarily, keeping the car in the middle of the circuit as you aim for the final corner, once again riding the red and yellow curb, get to the exit and once the wheel is straight, hard on the power, DRS open, across the line to set a 1 minute 40.864, and that's how you get into the top 1% of drivers. The setup used for this video is on screen now, and if you want to tailor this to the race situation, all you need to do is decrease the downforce just a little little bit to try and make overtaking easier. Keep the differential the same to maximize performance. Leave the suspension geometry as it is to maximize lap time. Soften the suspension just a little bit for consistency and increase the ride height marginally so you have confidence over the curbs. Leave the brake pressure as it is, but increase the brake bias to make sure you are able to cope a lot better in the race. And with the tire pressures, start from minimum and increase a couple clicks with practice to make sure that you find that perfect window for the tire temperatures. Make sure you subscribe for our next hot lap, like the video if you've improved, comment below how much you've improved by. Thank you very much to Zingy for completing this hot lap for us. Good luck and let's race.